What's going on, you Datura and isopods? Harbinger, the last and final elite specialization for the Necromancer, was unlocked with the Ender Dragons expansion. The Harbingers combine magic and alchemy, extracting ancient energy from the Dragon Jade to empower their magic. Instead of using life force as a second health pool, Harbinger Shroud does not protect against incoming attacks, becoming a far more aggressive transformation with ranged attacks and mobility. These gunslingers walk a fine edge between life and death, afflicting themselves with blight to reduce their vitality in exchange for more damage. They also learn elixirs. We get glass vessels, we fill them with liquid, and we throw it at our enemies. I mean, what's more Australian than that? We're pretty good at that.
After being glassed at a suburban house party in Perth.
4 years jail for a glass attack on a complete stranger.
He was glassed in an ambush in Innaloo.
And now, for a typical night out in Melbourne.
Hey! Sorry.
So this is my first game as Harbinger. I did my own build and every fight I engaged in ended in deaths. But not my enemies' deaths, mostly just myself. So instead of copying a build straight away, I just read through the skills and put all the elixirs on the bar just to test it out. Get a taste of what the spec's really about. I did a few games before Homage took me to school. I mean, this game was over pretty quick. It didn't drag out for very long. And there's the end score. I was lucky enough to get a one-on-one training session with Homage, Mr. Homyagi, and I was his Daniel-son. He showed me all the tricks of the trade with Harbinger. He taught me a lot about the swords and the spears and what elixirs I should be using. It was a good hour-long training session. One issue I had is I didn't actually record my own audio. So in OBS, you've got your own audio channels you can set. So I've got desktop audio and audio input device, which is my microphone, and I had that muted for a whole hour and a half. So I've got a whole hour and a half long video of Homage just talking to himself and responding to himself.
Yeah, exactly. yeah, it's pretty nice that way. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I don't think I'm tougher than a snake, you know? Jesus.
Yeah, which is a shame, because I actually wanted to upload the whole thing as a video. Rookie mistakes, eh? It was a really good training session. I learnt more than just Harbinger too. I learnt more about PvP positioning, and I could kind of see after a couple games I played with Homage how he sees the map. I'm still not too sure which targets to take in a PvP match. Like, he can look at the roster as soon as we begin and he's just like, oh yeah, that's a Condi Thief and that's a Power Berserker. And I hope to be at that level one day where I can actually just look at the roster and then play according to what that roster is and change on the fly. But still not on that level yet. Here is my smoothest playthrough so far. So Homage mentioned sword 3 and then sword 3 again, but weapon swap to cancel the damage, and I execute it perfectly there. Right, I need to slow this next clip down because I can't commentate as fast. So I'm going to throw my elixirs out to give me blight and boons, and I'm going to open up with spare 2 on the firebrand. Then I'm going to hit spare 5 with a spare 3 to try and daze, and then I'm going to spam 4 to reset spare 2. Boom, poke. But I accidentally poked the downed body. Now there's a downed body and a firebrand, so I want to daze with Shroud 4 and then hit Shroud 5 to tie up that firebrand, and that is the smoothest gameplay I've had. I'll speed the clip back up again to normal speed, and I end up just machine gunning myself in the head with the reflect barrier that the firebrand's put out. I think that's the Courage Tome 3. But I am so chuffed with how well that fight worked out. Mr. Homagi's wax on, wax off really paid off. So unfortunately this next fight doesn't go in my favour. I'm fighting a daredevil by myself. Now, he goes this way and disappears, and then I think he teleports up there. And I don't realise that I was outmatched. So there, I evade, and I'm like, oh, dude, they're both shooting at me, so I'll go behind here. And then they pin me down on the boxes. So, Didn't go quite the way I wanted it to, but I thought I was just fighting one daredevil. And then I get banned by the warrior, because getting shot wasn't enough apparently. Thank you, Mr. Warrior. There's another perfect sword 3 spare swap. Ooh, baby. I have a lot of trouble pinning down this Weaver. This Weaver is very slippery. Tried a couple of times to pin him down, and for some reason I decided to attack the Daredevil too. Okay, yeah. This was probably the closest fight I had with this Weaver, but it was so slippery, dude. So slippery. I'm going to try and port him with Spectral Walk and Shroud 5, but I don't catch him in it, or catch any of them in it. And they go in the smoke screen, and I know that they sort of stay in that smoke screen, so I tried to put as much damage in there as possible, but they ran out of it. But that Weaver is just so slippery, dude. Can't catch him. Thank you, Mr. Crow. Kindly shut the fuck up. Weaver is just so slippery, dude. Another flawless sword 3 spare swap. Oh baby, I'm on fire. I try to repeat the same combo there with the spare. With spare 2, spare 5, spare 3, and then spamming the 4, but I'm taking too much pressure. I need to get out of there. There's too many downed allies, and I'm about to go down myself. Just to recuperate a little bit of health, I try to smack around this soul beast to try and gain a little bit more health. I notice he's pretty squishy. I do some pretty good damage on him, so I decide to chase him down a bit just to get the kill and secure it. Pin down from afar, and here comes Mr. Warrior with his battle standard again. I see the warrior by himself and I try to 1v1 him. Spare 2 through a shield, which wasn't the best idea. Now I'm not too sure what this guy's gonna do, because I haven't fought too many warriors. Most of them just run at you head first. But this guy's staying back a bit and he's sort of thinking about what he's doing before he does it. I try to get the terrain so he can't do any charging on me, which prevents charging there. But I still want to just try and lock him down with some CCs, and looks like one of my buddies comes over and helps me secure that down. Why stun when you're about to get... Just accept the death, Jesus. And here comes my mate the Weaver. And I've got no faith that I could take this Weaver down just based on how slippery the fights were before, but I still want to try. Still want to go through, and here I'm going double spare 4 to go into spare 2, but it's still not enough damage. There's too much healing, too many bubbles. My mate comes along. I go to withdraw, but then my mate comes along and gets the down. Makes it worthwhile. And I go back to cap, but he's already capped it, so I just walked a long way around. I want to come help these guys out because that guy's down. I want to try and peel for them so that he can either res himself or get resed. But there's just too much pressure on him there. And I noticed that there's a firebrand again. I want to try and put pressure on that firebrand. I want to put pressure on that firebrand so she can either run away or tank it or die. But yeah. And then I try to put pressure on the Soul Beast too. For fuck's sake, what? The match is coming to a close. Don't even think I'm going to be able to secure this kill by pushing all the buttons I can. Get really close. It's like 10% health, but yeah. Game finishes with a loss. There goes 13 points. Look where we are again. We've got Warrior, Revenant, Thief, Ranger, Engineer, Mesmer, and Elementalist. I'm going to click here. I'm not going to say what I want. Do I want to look? I don't know if I want to look. I kind of want the Mesmer. But we're the Warrior. Okay. Let's do Warrior. I was kind of hoping for Mesmer or Engineer, because that's something interesting. Or even the Revenant. But let's do Warrior. Let's remove that from the list. For anyone interested in PvP or World v World, we have a guild called War Pigs. Events are run every now and then, so check the schedule, see if anything lines up with your schedule. Send us an invite. Link to the Discord is in the description.
So my diamonds up bizarre, got some crazy rocks on them. Got a crazy bitch and a heavy bag, might just flex on them. No one tells me shit, but no one tells me shit. But no one tells me shit, but no one tells me shit.
You waiting to receive my limp penis? Now, get your hands off me.